Hello and welcome back to the Linux Panic YouTube channel. In this video series, we're going to be going over what it is like to install Linux from scratch version 11.3 SystemD edition on, in this case, using Ubuntu. So let's get into making the video. So you may be wondering, well, why are you doing another one? Surely this is the same. Well, in some aspects it will be, in some aspects it won't, because the last series that I made was using the SystemV init initialization system instead of SystemD. Now we're going to be using SystemD this time around, and I'm also going to remember to install wget this time around as well, because without wget you cannot install anything. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know, I dare you. Ask me how I know. Anyway, so let's get into the process of making the video. Now, first things first, we need to come to the Linux from Scratch website and make sure that everything we have is tested to be compliant with the operating system. Now, I'm using Ubuntu version 20.04.6 long-term support, as it has everything we need and only has 153 updates that need to be applied from start, so won't be so many problems there. There's still enough room left on the ISO to carry on doing what we need to do. So first things first, we come to the Linux from Scratch website and then come to Chapter 2, Host Requirements. Copy this script, enter it in, and as we can see here, nothing happened because we haven't run this yet. And as we can see, command can't be found, but that's fine because we need to go through a few other steps first. Now, first things first, well, not first, but still, there are a few steps we need to go through. So we need to come to the software and updates section of our operating system and enable multiverse and universe. Yeah, I did them the wrong way around, that's fine. Once we have done that, we wait for this to finish refreshing. I said we wait for it to finish, and of course we are waiting a literal age. There we go. Come back to the terminal, do sudo -i to get into the root directory as the root user, and then we need to do reconfigure reconfigure dash and we select no in this case, so it's dpkg-reconfigure space dash, in this case no. And now we need to go through and copy this again, paste it in, and now we can run bash version check. In this case, it is still going to tell us, ooh, we can't find anything. This is fine, because everything is here as is expected, because I've already run this check beforehand. Everything that it's saying it can't find is actually on the system, and this is fine. It's just having a moment where it's going, I don't know, but it's fine. We don't need to worry about it. So now that we've cleared our screen, we need to go through the process of going and just installing everything that we need to install. Now this is just, hey look, the chapters, this is the breakdown 1 through 4, it's just getting everything ready. 5 through 6 is the tools we're going to need to compile everything, and then 7 through 10 is actually going through the process of compiling everything we're going to need. So it's probably a good idea to get moving through. Now when it comes to Linux from scratch, we need to do some partition stuff. Now when it comes to chapter 2.5, it's going to say, hey look, make me this, and that's fine. We can either use the terminal or gparted. In my case, we're going to use gparted. So now that we've got this, we want to go to new, and it's going to say no partition table. That's fine. We go to device, create partition table. Because this is less than 2 terabytes worth of space, we will be using the MS-DOS file partition table. If it was greater than 2 terabytes, we would use GPT, but in this case, it's only 100 gigabytes, and MS-DOS is fine. We want to create 3 directories. We want to create a directory That is 512 MB in the ext2 format, and we will give that the label boot. We will then come to this, and we will give the following space 4096. Now, the reason why we want following space is because the following space will be for our swap space, which we will then set next. So call this one rootfs, and the swap space we'll make new and give it the file system Linux swap and just call it swap. So we have an ext2 of 512, an ext4 of 95.5, and a swap of 4, which is what we want. Click this little green tick to say yes, do, thank you very kindly. And then come to the boot partition, right click it, manage flags, and then select boot. So the operating system knows this is a boot partition, treat it as such. So it's fine. It knows what it needs to do to handle stuff. So now that we've done that, we need to go through the process of setting up the LFS variable. Now, in this case, it's really easy. It's just export LFS equals MNT LFS. This is just saying, hey, look, anytime I say $LFS, this is what I want. And anytime we enter $LFS, we get that. So we will do this as an example. We will do echo $LFS. It's not going to give me anything because we've not fed anything into it. So what we want to do is just export LFS equals /MNT/LFS. Now you can flick in and out just to make sure what you've got is right, but in this case it is. And now if we do echo $LFS, we now have that saying, hey look, MNT LFS. But if we wanted to cd into the variable, it's going to go, you told me to go to a place that doesn't exist. I took you there. There's nothing there, so I can't. That's fine, because we've not actually created anything there yet. So this was an expected error. This is fine. But in the process, we have confirmed this is working, which is what we want. Next thing we want to do is we want to mount the partition. Now, because we only want to mount the singular, in this case the root directory, which is, for me, will be VDA2, because I'm using a virtual manager virtual machine, so it gives the disks in VDA format, or if you're using a regular Linux system, for example, if you're using your own system, it'll show up as SDA, or whatever your file, or whatever your disk naming scheme is. So for me, it's just VDA 1 through 3, and I wish to mount VDA 2. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make directory -v, or PV, $LFS. Now that we have that, it said, hey look, I'll create that for you, and it's gone and done that, which is fine. It is exactly what we want. And now we need to mount this. We need to mount VDA2, which is what we want. So again, if we do list block size, or list blocks, we have VDA 1 through 3, VDA2 is mounted. That's what we want. And now all we have to do is mount the swap. So again, this is just /sbin/swapon vdev VDA3. So /sbin/swapon -v, v for verbose, and it's /dev/VDA3. Again, flick in and out just to make sure it's all there, but as we can see here, page size of 4 gigabytes, problem solved. Everything is there. If we just do a list block size, we have mount, swap, and everything is groovy. Now, this is where we come to actually getting all the packages that we need downloaded and installed. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make a new directory. In this case, make directory -v LFS sources. So this is going to make the directory sources under the LFS alias, and the reason why with V for verbose, just so everything's there and we can confirm it. We want to make that sticky, so what that means is anybody can write to it, but only the directory owner can remove from it, which again is fine, that's what we want. And so it goes from a 0755 to a 1777, so it goes from RWX, RW, well, R-X, R-X to RWX, RWX, RWT. So now that we need to cd into the LFS sources directory, so cd sources, and we want to have a look at this page and right click copy link from the wget list systemd. Now you're probably wondering, why do we need this? Well, we can't download the list of files if there is no file list to download from. So we need to get the download list. So in this case, it will be just wget, drop in the link, and what this is now going to do, this is just downloaded the system list. We'll download the sources list and it for everything there. And what we want to do is we just want to copy this, hit enter, and now this is going to look at the list, download everything in the list, and it's just going to go through it. Now this may take a while because there's a lot of packages. So we can just open the list in a new page, and this is downloading everything that is on this list here, just to make sure it is all going to work fine. And once it's done, because again this could take a little while, there's a lot of stuff to download here. Now as we can see here, it's only just getting to Gork, and Gork is about here, so we've still got a decent way to go, but this will download everything we need, all the packages, no hassle, no worry. As we can see here, Z Standard is made by Facebook, of all people. And it's also downloading the Linux 6.1.11 kernel, which is the kernel used in this particular release. So it's just got to download it, go through the process, yada yada. So this will take a while, so we will return once this has finished downloading. Now that has downloaded, there is a few more things that we do need to install before carrying on. Now you may have noticed earlier that the checking of is everything here didn't work. And that's because I forgot to install something, which is fine, and this is how we'll confirm it exists properly. So cd out, we need to install the following: M4, Gork, Bison, Flex, Automake, autoconf, build essential, yes, NTIL, tex info, not text info, tex info. Trust me, it's an easy mistake to make. Libn curses, hope I can spell, but it is libn curses 5-dev. We will just copy this to make typing the next part easier. Copy, paste, libn curses 5, well, libn curses w5-deb and libtool. So libtool. This will go through and install everything that we need. Again, won't take too long. It'll go through the process. So we can run the test again, just to make sure it would have worked fine if we didn't run the test, if we didn't install all this. But this is just absolutely guaranteeing it that it will work. So this is just a, hey look, I should have done it earlier, but I had to think about it because it's been niggling at the back of my mind. So this is a benefit of just going over and checking your work before committing to chucking so much time down the drain. I've made that mistake before. So now that we can actually come to the host system requirements and then just run bash version check again. And as we can see, no issues at all, nothing chucked, which is fine. That's exactly what we wanted. So we want to cd into LFS sources and carry on what we were doing. So in this case, we want to go up and then come to the introduction. Now in this case, now that we've done that and downloaded everything, we need to copy the MD5 sum link, wget the MD5 file. Now, you're probably wondering, why do I need an MD5 sum file? This compares the MD5 sums against the files that we've just downloaded to make sure that we have downloaded everything that we needed. And if there is a sum that doesn't match or the sum that is missing, it'll say, hey, look, I'm missing something. And then this will allow us to go get the files we need. But because we don't get that issue this time round, it will be fine. However, it is still good practice to run it just to make 100% sure. And as we can see here, everything came back as an OK, meaning we have all of the files that we need. So we're all set and ready to go. Now, of course, the last thing we need to do is just run this chown root LFS sources. This is just changing it, making sure that it is still correct. That's fine. Do it as a matter of course, regardless of whether it's correct, just to make 100% sure it's all fine. But now that we've done that, we can just carry on clicking through. This is just where all the links come from in case we need to download it again. Same for here. These are the patches. They got downloaded as well, so no issues there either. So now that we've done that, this is just the introduction, just explaining what an SBU is. SBU stands for Standard Build Unit. It's just how long it takes to build something. The first package that we compile has a standard build unit of 1, and that way you can then figure out how long other packages are going to take to compile based off the estimation of the first one. So that's what that is. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to cd down one directory. We're going to do clear print working directory. We're in mount LFS, and we need to copy this. This will create for us LFS, etc, var, user, bin, lib, and sbin. So if we just do a ls-la, we now have a bin, user bin, etc, lib, all of what we wanted has just been down, has just not been downloaded, been created. That is what we wanted. And of course, we also need to make the directory LFS tools. So again, list everything. We now have a tools directory, which wasn't there beforehand, which is what we want. We now need to go through the process of doing group add and then user add. Previously, this was usermod hyphen lowercase a capital G, if I remember correctly. That's just the add group. In this case, it's now group add. So it's just as simple as group add LFS. And then this adds the user, well, this adds the user LFS, and then just gives it the basic access stuff which would be expected for a user to have access to. We want to give it a password, so passwd LFS. I am going to give it a password of a longer one just because I will actually be using this. Make sure the keypad works, because if it isn't, I'm going to cry because I've just put in a password that requires the numpad. But now that we've created the LFS user, we also now need to go through the process of giving the LFS user full access to all the directories under LFS by making the LFS the owner, which is fine. Well, that's what, now that we've done that, and all we have to do now is switch user to the LFS user, clear pwd ls-la cd ... As we can see, LFS Ubuntu, so cd LFS, and everything is here. This is fine. Don't worry about it. And as we can see here, everything is here. And we've got, so if we do cd $LFS, trust me, it is all here. It is fine. So if we do cd mnt, cd/mnt, it is all here. It does all work. So cd/mnt cd LFS, as we can see, everything is still here. So we just want to do export $LFS equals /mnt/LFS. We do echo. That's fine. It is all working. Trust me, I had a little panic there as well. But it is all working. That's fine. We now need to go through the process of setting the environment. It's a good working environment to create 2 new startup files for the bash shell. So while logged in as the user, we can issue the command. So this is just bash profile. We are logged in as user because it shows up as LFS Ubuntu, which is what we want to see. Now, if we come here, this is all fine. That's good. It's just saying, hey, look, that's fine. In some host systems, the following command su does not complete properly and suspends the login for the LFS user in the background. If the prompt does not appear, entering FG will fix the command. So just do FG. So again, this is working as expected. Setting up the environment, we need to pop this in, as well as any changes here. So for example, we could add in all the exports and the make flags and all of this in this bash RC file here, but it won't take effect until we source it, which we're going to do immediately afterwards anyway. But I'm not going to put them into the bash RC file because I just don't fancy doing it. Again, we'll just run this file just to make 100% sure. Permission denied. That's because that's fine. There's nothing there. Source the bash profile, and we are now off to the races. So again, we just want to do echo LFS. LFS is still there. As previously mentioned, I explained what standard build unit is, what standard build units are. Chapter 4.5 just says, well, 4.5 just says, hey, look, this is what standard build units are. Exactly what I just said. So that's fine. Test suites are just, hey, look, test it. Make sure it works. We don't have to run it, it's just advised that you do, so we are going to run the test suites just to make 100% sure, because otherwise we're going to cry. But anyway, that is the first video of my Linux from Scratch 11.3 SystemD edition. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button and maybe consider tickling the subscribe button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike button and leave me a comment saying why you didn't like it, so I can learn why you did and did not like it. Anyway, I have been Nick, you have been amazing, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and goodbye.